Alright guys, we're back at it with the Toro TC 300. This thing, as I don't know if you've seen the first video of it, we try to get it going. It does fire. I got the replacement carb. Actually, I had it for a couple days, but it's the closest thing I could find. I'm hoping it works. It's actually for a I think it was a 2-cycle tiller or something, and a couple people said they thought it would work, so I dug it up on Amazon, got it. So we'll get tonight. It's getting kind of late. It's going on 10 o'clock, so I'm going to at least get it apart tonight, and we'll tell you, so I can get the carb off of it, check it out, and then get home tomorrow. Everything goes well, get it back together and try to get it fired up. And it does look really similar to the one that's on it, minus the nipple right here for the fuel line. So we'll see. We'll do our best, try to get it going, and so it'd be sweet. And this thing is what, 38 years old. So it'd be kind of cool to get it running again, and see how it goes from there. Alright, not a whole lot of screws. You got what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 screws to hold the casing together. You could almost get the carburetor off without taking it apart, but you wouldn't be able to reach the fuel line and the linkage and stuff real well, so it's easier just to separate it. And so that's what I'll do. I'll get her apart and we'll take a look at it. Alright, it's split, and looks like there might be a couple things different. The nipple, fuel nipple, and that one sticks straight out. This one kicks out to the side, which is no big deal. Because the fuel line's right here. It can either go, up and over like it was on it, or if this one's on there, it should be fine. The one thing I did notice though was for the throttle, hold this down, if you can watch right here where the rod for the trigger assembly comes down to work it. Get that up there. Pushes it back, to work the throttle. This one, if you put it up, you can see it's facing the opposite direction. So for this one, open is, it has to be pulled forward for it to open up. This one pushes back. This one has to be drawn forward. So we'll have to address that. So what I'm thinking is, if we can get that screw to come loose, hopefully we can flip the hook up for it here. We can take the screw out, turn it around, and put it at the bottom. Hopefully that will help in that part. The idle adjustment, same. That one's at the bottom. And it does actually all, they look really quite a lot alike, but we shall see, I reckon. And I don't know, let's see if it'll come loose first. Ooh, she's tight and it's slipping. I'm gonna screw it up. This thing's brand new. Dang. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, looks like it's got a flat spot in it, so flip it around. It should work. Yep, it opens her up, so hopefully that'll take care of that part. I'm saying I don't think the fuel line will be an issue. Fuel line is kind of bad though. When I went to take off this carburetor, it actually tore off. As soon as I loosened the clamp up and went to slide it off the nipple, it pulled the end straight off. So I'm pretty sure I have fuel line that'll fit it. Get this screw to start. But the diameter of that nipple and this one, there is a difference. The one that's the original carb, the diameter of it for the fuel is, man, that's tiny, is larger than this one. But straight, yeah, there we go. The fuel line I have, I'm pretty sure will fit this one. Probably have to wrestle it onto the tank, but it should fit the carb. Pretty sure anyway. Yeah, so it takes care of that. So now it's real close where they sit at. So it'll work the same way if it hooks up. If it hooks up good enough anyway. That should open it up. Should be full throttle right there. So got our two new gaskets. Let's see. Pop this carb off real quick. Get this camera back so you guys can see some. It's just a couple of screws. Should be able to buzz them right out. Hopefully. And we'll get a better look at everything here. I have to drop the plastic down. Yeah, the linkage has it in a bind, so shouldn't take much. Let's see. I should have done the bottom one first. So it should pop right out. I'm going to break that and probably never find it. There we go. And we should be able to reach the bottom with no problem. A little bit more. And it takes care of that. Cool. Man, that's a raggedy gasket. And we'll have to clean that plastic up some too before we throw it back together. It's pretty nasty, huh? So there she is in all her crusty glory. So here's the difference. This one actually has a low and high. If you can see the low and the high for the mixture on the original carb. This one is the part I'm worried about. It's way down in there. You have a mixture for it, and I don't think I have a bit that'll get down in there, so I'm probably going to have to go to the hardware store and pick up a really small flathead, because I'm almost positive I don't have anything that'll reach down in that if we have to end up having to adjust it. So might be a small issue. Nothing to really be concerned about. Get this tank out of here. Get that old gas out of it. Yep, same way. Fuel line just snakes underneath everything. Having gas pumping everywhere in a minute. I'm on. Oh, that's a tight fit. There we go. That's not too bad. The line's definitely got some years on it, but I'm almost positive I got some line out there. I think it's out in the passenger front seat of that K5. So since it is all apart, we'll clean her up some, check for any issues, which actually it shouldn't have any, but besides the not wanting to run part. But we'll see what we got going on here with these two. So that's our fuel side. Let's see. So it's going to be, I don't know, man. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have to play around with this one. Make sure we got that part right. But it should be, gosh, I hope it's close enough for it to work. Might as well take this off its shot anyway. Get a better look at the carb. Man. All else fails, we'll try to clean this one. We know how that usually works out. But they're pretty close. Minus the low and high adjustment, this carb is really close. So we might get lucky and it might work. We'll see. I hope. It'll be nice. But we'll get the surfaces cleaned up some, and we'll hook it up and see what we got. Okay, first problem so far. The carb is on it, screwed in. Problem number one, with the throttle trigger hooked up, you can see where this is the idle adjustment screw, where it comes up at the bottom, which is on this one. You see how it's shaped. Use some light on it for you. So it actually sets this away. But if you're looking at this side where the idle adjustment is, you can see how it's shaped. The one that I bought for it is shaped. Don't run somebody off. The one that's on it is, getting the camera, kinda like this one. You can see how it's big, bulky, bubbled out. So what that's leaning towards is, this is the plastic of the front of the, you got the engine, well, it's the head, but this is the front. This is where the coil and everything is in here. As soon as you start hitting the throttle, it's straight into the plastic. You can only get like a quarter of a throttle, so only thing I can think of is, back this out to where you can see, is I'll take it back off, and like how this one is here, I'll take it back off, get the cutting wheel out, and just trim it down some so we can get full throttle out of it. Trust me, I hate to cut a brand new carb up like that, but what choice do I got, right? So I'll get the fuel line for it. I'll take the carburetor back off and go get the angle grinder. Cut, not much of it has to come off. Probably like 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch max, and there's plenty enough there. It can spare that. So if it's, you can see how small this one is, but it'd be like taking this one where the hole is, probably just taking it just like straight down, just where the shaft is, not into the shaft, but just like taking it straight down just like that, and it should give us full throttle on it. And get the fuel line hooked up, and we'll get it put back together, get the fuel line hooked up, and we'll see what happens. And it mounted up perfect. Spinning the piece around on it right there for the linkage. Everything seems to be working all right. It's just hitting the casing right there. So fingers crossed, man. It'll work. So I'll have to get it all back apart and get that trimmed up, get the fuel line hooked up, and then we'll be ready to give it a shot, I hope. Clean the plastic up a little bit. Alright, so the new carb is a big no-go. No matter what I do to it, it will not work. Cleaned the old one up best I could, threw it on Make sure it probably needs gaskets, but it got it to where air flows through it real good. But the new one here, the problem is sets like this, which is no big deal. So the problem we was having down here where the idle adjustment is, when you go to open it, if you're hitting throttle, first this was hitting the plastic case down here. It would come out when you go to open it, it hit the case, so that wouldn't let it open. So I was like, alright, well, so I was saying before we could cut this down and let it open up. So instead of doing that, I took the old card when it was still off, just disassembled the took the flap out, disassembled the shaft, and put the old one onto the new one. Tried hooking it up, still won't work. The problem we had after that was when it opens up, you can see how it sticks out. Where it sticks out, same deal. It's hitting the it's a smaller hole because the carburetor that's on there, the diameter is more like how this one here is. You can see the difference between the two. The one that's on it, the OEM one that's on it, is like this top one. It's real small, and where this one's bigger, when it goes to open up, you can see how it sticks out right there. So where it sticks out over the carburetor, it's hitting the plastic, won't let the carburetor open. So so no matter what I do, I mean, you can cut that down, but then you're going to end up with a big hole in there, and you'll never get it right. So that's a big no-go on the new carburetor. But then again, if I come across something with this style carb, at least I'll have a new one for it. So the only thing I could do was clean this one up. So I went through some of the old carburetors I had, and none of them had the gasket that's down here on the bottom. Not a one of them had the same style gasket. They was all with four of them sitting there now, soon to be 5. And unless the other one off of the green weed eater blower, unless something on there can match up to it, and we're just out of luck. I mean, I'll still try to start it out of curiosity, and just to see if a cleaning helped it. But the fuel line, same way. Thought I had a new fuel line for it, but I could have swore this diameter was smaller, but it's too big. So it leaves me with having to get a small piece of fuel line. If I can't find one out in the parts department there in the shed. This one I had to cut on the carburetor. It was stuck, couldn't get it off, had to cut that end off, so I lost a little bit, which would have been this little piece, which gave me, I still had enough slack to reach the carb, but when I took it off the tank on the other end, I lost double that. So it's not long enough to fit, so we'll get a piece of fuel line, get some fuel line slammed on it, and get the case back together, see what happens. Man, I was hoping that would work. I was all excited, it bolted right up, the gaskets matched up, but it said, not today, sir. But that's okay, it's all good. I'll get some fuel line, we'll get it back together, because you get the fuel line in before you can put the other part of the case on, and go from there. Hopefully it'll work. Hoping we can get this thing to run. So I'll have to get the fuel line, and then we'll get her back together. Alright guys, here we go with the TC300. She's going to make it or she's going to break it, I guess. Same issue we had with the blower. We bought the carb for it. Carb wouldn't work, and it was a shot in the dark, but we tried. So we're going to see if we can get it to, we cleaned the carb that's on it, took completely apart, used the best gaskets we could find. They would match up. Change the fuel line on it, give it some fresh fuel. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully it'll run. Here's the choke. Rudy over there getting all excited. Fuel line on it's a clear line now. I just put one on it just to make sure it was pulling. It's trying, but for whatever reason, there it goes. We're not getting any definite throttle response, so I'm sure it's something in that carb is freaking whacked out. So I can't get it to idle, to throttle up for sure. Looks like it's pulling fuel. Try this again. Come on. Ain't gonna do jack shit. That stripped out screw finally fell out. Oh, she's trying. Try half choke. It ain't liking this. She's a runner, man. I wish I had a carb that would work on it. It's not even attempting to pull up fuel yet. It's just running the ether out and dying. Ain't doing jack. Alright, a couple more tries and it's declared a fail. Without a carb, there's nothing I can do for it. I'll show you the line. It is not wanting to pull fuel. Let's see, it's a shame too, man. That thing runs good. That starting fluid is going to end up burning the cylinder out of it. You can see, screwdriver, right here. That's what the Lowe's, and got a piece of clear line and threw on it, and filled it up, and the fuel came down to right here. You can see the air bubble there. It came down, filled the bottom of the line, and stayed. That is it, and it's not pulling fuel up into the carb. You know, so it should suck it up and around. And that was enough running hard off of that starting fluid to free something up, but it just needs a carb, man. It's kind of toasty-oed without it. So the line, you can kind of see it there. It just hooks up right here on the tank, and just gravity feeds down, comes around the bottom of the case, goes up and around to the carb on right here at the top, about where my finger is. It's got that nipple. So I mean, just gravity feeds to there, but for whatever reason, it's that carb is just hit. I unclogged everything on it I could find, so I don't know if it's just down the bottom. It's a bad needle, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I can't find the parts for it. We tried, so at least we tried. You know, I didn't give up on it, but I have to give up on it for now until I can come up across, you know, something else. Maybe at some point, if I find something as old that I might be able to use for parts, we might be able to salvage it. So everything works on it. The head even spins. This is the clutchless type, so you know when you pull the string, the spool head spins, so there's no clutch, so it makes it a little harder on the old shoulder to pull it. But 38 years old, I guess you can't expect miracles, right? So that's it for this one. We'll have to wrap it up, man. We tried. We definitely tried. So I was saying, the only thing I could find that was actually OEM for this was replacement air filter. That was it. Or no, I did. I found the replacement air filter, and then found a new head for the bottom. That was it. It was expensive. The filter was like $10.98 that they wanted for the filter. I don't know what the shipping was for it, and I think the spool head back there was 20-some bucks. And this one was, what did we pay for this? 12 bucks? Yeah, so this one's the one we got. It was $12.12, but we got it on that half off Tuesday, so it was $6.06. So yeah, it is what it is, I reckon. We tried. Not technically giving up on it. I just gotta wait until I find something as old, I guess, that this thing always fights with me. As old that I can salvage parts off of, and then we'll give it another shot. So it's not screw it. We didn't want to go back on the mount. So it's not a total wasted cause. I mean, it's definitely a fail, but we gave it a go. So with that, we'll move on to something else. What else do we got coming up? Well, I still got that chainsaw to work on, but since I'm done with this, the focus is going to be getting back on them trucks. And this car, it's a 2008 Chevy Cobalt. Transmission shifter solenoids, I'm hoping that's what it is, are out of it, which we're on the passenger side, but they're on the driver's side. That's a fun job, because you got to remove the whole axle assembly and everything. You got to actually drop the transmission down to take the side cover off, change the solenoids out, put them back together. But they're not wanting to mess with it, so I get to do whatever I want with it. This thing runs great, and well, minus the transmission problem. So with this, we're going to tinker around on it some and do some hillbilly ghetto fabulous work to it here and there. So we'll see you on that one also. And thanks for watching, guys. I tried. I gave it a shot. If I come across something that I can think will help this thing run, I'll definitely rip it back apart and give it a go. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry it's not a win. Like I always say, you can't win them all. but I tried, and got a couple new subscribers overnight, so thank you for that. And like always, subscribe, share, help us get it growing, and hopefully here shortly we'll have at least one of these trucks out. My goodness, it's been so long. But all right, I'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.